Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. So we've done this before where we've gotten ChatGPT to kind of give us some Yu-Gi-Oh insight, and some of it has been really bad. Last month we had them write alternate endings for every single Yu-Gi-Oh show. This video we are going to be having them write sad endings for every Yu-Gi-Oh show. We're going to see what they come up with. I have a roll of tissues. This is toilet paper. I don't know why this is down here. I've got a roll of that in case the tears start flowing. I'm expecting some hard-hitting things. You guys suggested this in the last video in the comment section. Somebody suggested this, and I thought it was kind of a cool topic. So we'll see what endings they come up with. Will we like them? Will they be good? I don't know. I also upgraded to the paid version of this program because why not? If it gives us better answers and more fun content, then, you know, I think that's cool. So without further ado, let's go. Here are sad alternate endings to every single Yu-Gi-Oh series. You guys let me know if they're good, if you like them, and we'll see how the AI does. Hope you enjoy. Alright guys, so we got GPT-4 as a new option. I guess that's what is available to us when you pay for it. Our most capable model, great for tasks that require creativity and advanced reasoning. Well, this is a creative prompt, so we'll see how it does. We'll see if it does better than the regular alternate endings, because those were pretty bad. Okay, so I'm going to be giving it this prompt for every single Yu-Gi-Oh! Simple, write a sad alternate ending for Yu-Gi-Oh! Whatever. Dual monsters through 7s. And by the way, we are going to do this for every Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. So if you want a timestamp, they'll be in the description. If you just want to watch a certain Yu-Gi-Oh! Show, that'll be right there in the description. So let's start. So I can already tell paying for the upgraded version may have been a very good decision. Just looking at this quickly, this seems to actually be a pretty good alternate ending to what we got. Titled The Farewell Duel, the final confrontation between Yugi and Pharaoh Atem takes a different turn. The duel, designed to free the Pharaoh's spirit and allow him to rest in the afterlife, is fraught with tension and heavy emotion as Yugi battles not only for the freedom of his friend but also to prove his growth. The duel reaches its apex. Yugi has managed to hold his own against the Pharaoh, displaying a level of mastery that impresses everyone. Both of them have only a few life points left, and it's Yugi's turn. With a deep breath, Yugi declares his move. He activates Sword of Revealing Light, protecting his life points from Atem's next attack, and summons Dark Magician Girl in attack mode. "It's your move, Pharaoh," he says, his voice filled with determination and a touch of sadness. The Pharaoh smiles, proud of how much Yugi has grown. He draws his card and a look of surprise flashes across his face. He's drawn Slifer the Sky Dragon. This could be the end of the game. Atem hesitates, looking at his card and then at Yugi, but in the end he makes his move. He sacrifices his 2 monsters on the field to summon Slifer. The playing field rumbles as Slifer descends, its terrifying form casting a shadow over everything. Yugi is taken aback. He never expected the Pharaoh to draw one of the Egyptian god cards. Atem, in a stoic voice, commands Slifer to attack Dark Magician Girl, which will end the duel. As Slifer prepares its attack, Yugi, in a last desperate move, reveals his set card, Mirror Force. But just as Yugi tries to activate his trap, the Millennium Puzzle around his neck shines brightly, temporarily blinding him. He hears the Pharaoh's voice in his head. "I'm sorry, Yugi." When Yugi opens his eyes, his trap card remains unused, and Slifer's attack connects, hitting Dark Magician Girl and reducing Yugi's life points to 0. There is a moment of stunned silence, then shock and disbelief. Yugi has lost. The loss means the Pharaoh's spirit won't cross over to the afterlife. Atem looks down, sadness and guilt in his eyes. He had hoped Yugi would win, but he could not ignore his instinct to fight, to win, to battle like a true Pharaoh. Yugi looks at Atem, tears in his eyes. "Why, Pharaoh? I wanted you to win, Yugi. I truly did, but I am a Pharaoh, and it is in my nature to fight until the end. I'm sorry." In the aftermath of the duel, the friends are left to deal with the bittersweet victory. The Pharaoh remains trapped in the modern world, unable to move on, and Yugi is left with the knowledge that he was unable to free his friend. Despite the sadness, they vow to find another way to free the Pharaoh's spirit, but the pain of the loss leaves a deep scar, a reminder of the duel where Yugi lost and the Pharaoh stayed. The finale becomes not a celebration of growth and farewell, but a lament of what could have been and promise of more battles to come. So I'll say there's a few things there logistically that are weird. Like, I think Mirror Force wouldn't have worked on Slifer because I'm pretty sure in the anime, trap cards don't work on the Egyptian gods, unless maybe I'm confusing that. But other than that, like, Atem using the Millennium Puzzle to kind of cheat and get Yugi to be temporarily blinded and prevent Yugi from activating the trap is interesting. And the whole premise of Atem staying in the afterlife and not being able to move on, and that being super bittersweet, I think that is the perfect kind of sad twist that you could have had on the original Yu-Gi-Oh! So that one wasn't too bad. I'd give it maybe a 6 out of 10. I like the original ending more, but if they were going to go for a sad way to end the show, I think that's probably the more obvious pick, the most obvious pick that they could have chosen, for sure. All right, so we have an alternate take on the Yubel duel. So this is titled The Unfinished Journey. In the original ending of GX, Jaden overcomes the evil Yubel, reconciling with her and integrating her into his being. He emerges stronger, more understanding, and more resilient. But in this alternate, sadder ending, the circumstances take a darker turn. Jaden's final duel against Yubel, the spirit haunting him, reaches a climax. Everyone watches as Jaden stakes everything on his next move. With the power of elemental hero Neos, he believes he can turn the tide of the battle and save his friends. However, Yubel, full of resentment and rage, counters with her most powerful monster, Super Fusion God. Yubel's hate-filled eyes lock onto Jaden and she declares her final attack. Jaden attempts to defend with his set card, but it's no use. Super Fusion God's attack gets through, and Jaden's life points hit 0. The duel ends. Jaden has lost. His friends watch in horror as Jaden falls to his knees, defeated, but the worst is yet to come. Yubel, in a cruel twist of fate, does not take over Jaden's body as expected. Instead, she uses the dark energy from the duel to force her consciousness into the duel monster's world, wreaking havoc and causing chaos. Jaden is left behind, guilt-ridden and devastated. His friends try to comfort him, but the damage has been done. With Yubel gone, there's no one to duel to reverse the situation. Jaden failed not only to defeat Yubel, but he also failed to protect the duel monster's world and his friends. In the aftermath, Duel Academy is changed forever. The spirit of competition and camaraderie is replaced by a palpable sense of loss and failure. Jaden's friends, though supportive, can't help but feel a sense of despair. Jaden withdraws himself from dueling, weighed down by guilt and regret. The season ends not with a triumphant victory, but a tragic defeat. Jaden, once the symbol of hope and perseverance at Duel Academy, is now a symbol of its greatest failure. His journey remains incomplete, his battle with Yubel unresolved. In the closing scene, we see Jaden alone, overlooking the sea, his elemental hero Neos card in hand. The once bright and enthusiastic duelist, now somber and quiet. As the sun sets, Jaden makes a vow. He'll find a way to right his wrongs, to face Yubel again, and save the duel monster's world, no matter what. Thus ends GX, not with triumph and reconciliation, but with loss and the promise of a redemption journey that may never come. It's a harsh ending, and a reminder that even the greatest duelist can fail, that every choice has consequence, and that every loss leaves a scar. But it's also a testament to the indomitable spirit of a duelist, the spirit that refuses to surrender, even in the face of overwhelming despair. So in this alternate ending, Judai loses to Yubel. Yubel successfully gets Super Fusion God. Now, in the original GX, if Super Fusion God was summoned, it would have fused together all the dimensions and probably would have killed a lot of people. In this version, Yubel enters the Duel Monsters world. I imagine that's the main world that the anime takes place in, because it's not the spirit world or anything like that. And she wreaks havoc, and Jaden is a symbol of its greatest failure. I mean, what a great line that is. That is such a good line. Holy shit. And this sad ending is not a bad one. I'd give it another probably 6 out of 10. It's solid. I think I like how the Yubel story concluded more than this. GX was not a show that probably should have had a sad ending. There's a few that come to mind that I think a sad ending would work. VRAINS is, of course, one of them. I don't know how you make the VRAINS ending more sad than it was. I'm excited to get to that one. GX, I don't really see it, but yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. Alright, so I think this alternate ending has Yusei lose to Zone. The unattainable future. In the final arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, Yusei faces off against Zone, the mysterious antagonist who shares a resemblance to Yusei, to determine the fate of New Domino City. However, in this alternate ending, their duel takes a tragic turn. In the final moments, Yusei prepares his next move. He has Stardust on the field, and his friend's hopes rest on his shoulders. However, Zone draws a powerful card that shifts the tide of the duel in his favor. Zone summons the mighty Time Lord Cephalon and declares an all-out attack on Stardust Dragon. Yusei attempts to activate his trap, hoping to negate the attack, but Zone counters it with a quick play spell. Cephalon's attack connects. Yusei's life points drop to 0. He loses the duel. Silence descends upon the battlefield. Yusei's friends watch in disbelief as he falls to his knees, the shock of the loss etched on his face. Zone, who had hoped Yusei could alter the doomed fate of New Domino City, expresses his disappointment before disappearing, leaving Yusei and his friends in the ruins of the city. The consequences of the loss are devastating. New Domino City falls into chaos and despair. The hopes and dreams of its citizens for a brighter future are dashed, and the city becomes a bleak shell of its former self. Yusei's friends are heartbroken, but more than anything, they are worried for Yusei, who takes the loss hardest of all. Unable to bear the weight of his failure, Yusei retreats from his friends and dueling. His once fiery passion for the game and determination to protect his home diminish, leaving him a shadow of his former self. Akiza, Jack, Luna, and Leo try to reach out to him, but the guilt and regret he feels form a wall they can't breach. In the aftermath, the bonds between them all start to fray, and the signers, once a symbol of unity and hope, drift apart. Each is left to grapple with the consequences of the loss and the reality of their ruined city. The series ends on a melancholy note, showing the disheartened Yusei standing alone atop a building overlooking his city, the vibrant lights now dimmed and silent. His once cherished Stardust Dragon card clutched in his hand, he looks up to the stars. Even though the ending is tragic and leaves the audience with a heavy heart, it reinforces the theme that every action has consequences, and not every duel can be won, no matter the duelist's strength. Yet it also leaves a glimmer of hope that the fallen hero might rise again, that the spirit of unity might be reignited, and that New Domino City might one day reclaim its lost glory. That is probably the best one, personally, I've read so far. I actually was getting, like, chills thinking about it, dude. That was really good. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. And again, it's hard for me to compare, because this is a totally different take on 5Ds. So the endings we got, I'm probably satisfied more with all the endings that we got, at least for the first trilogy here. But man, oh man, some of the writing and some of, like, the tones, like, they really tell a picture very well with the writing here. And yeah, you know, having Yusei lose to Zone would have been a bold decision. Having any of these shows end in a sad way would have been a bold decision. Reading some of these and knowing that this is the route they easily could have went, I'm happy that Yu-Gi-Oh does end on positive notes. I don't know if I've said that before. I'm happy for the most part Yu-Gi-Oh does end on positive notes, because man, sad endings can be tough, dude. They really can be. Alright, so this is The Lonely Duelist. In the final arc of Zexal, Yuma engages in a battle against Don Thousand, the god of Baryon World, to save Astral World. But in this alternate ending, the duel outcome is not a victorious one. Yuma, equipped with his faithful ally Astral and his deck of monsters, faces Don Thousand in what becomes the most difficult duel of his life. Despite his spirit, the god's power proves to be overwhelming. In the final turn, Yuma plans to turn the tide with his mighty Zexal weapon Leo Arms equipped to his Utopia monster. However, Don Thousand reveals his face-down trap card, Thousand's Curse, which negates Yuma's strategy and prepares a powerful counterattack. Don Thousand commands his imaginary number, 1000 Numeronius Numeronia, to attack Utopia directly. Yuma is unable to defend against the unstoppable force. His life points drop to 0. He falls to his knees, defeated. Stunned silence fills the battlefield. Don Thousand, victorious, dissipates with a promise of imminent chaos. Astral, bound by his ties with Yuma, shares his friend's loss, and as a consequence of their defeat, is forced to part ways with Yuma, disappearing into an uncertain fate in the astral world. The impact of Yuma's defeat is massive. The balance between the Baryon and astral worlds crumbles, leading to unpredictable and chaotic consequences in both worlds. His friends Kotori, Tetsu, and Takashi are left in shock and grief as they witness the change in their once cheerful friend. Yuma, burdened with guilt and the loss of Astral, withdraws from dueling, his spirit broken. His Utopia card, once a symbol of his relentless positivity and belief in a brighter future, now only serves as a reminder of his greatest defeat. As time passes, Heartland City undergoes significant changes, with increasing occurrences of interdimensional disturbances and monster manifestations. Yuma's friends try to manage the situation as best they can without him, their efforts only partially successful. The series concludes with a poignant scene of Yuma on top of his school's roof, gazing at the stars alone, a stark contrast to his usually lively demeanor. He holds his Utopia card up to the sky, a silent plea to his lost friend Astral. The ending, while undeniably sad, speaks volumes about the importance of unity, friendship, and the impact of loss. It leaves room for interpretation and continuation, where perhaps one day Yuma rediscover his Katobingu spirit and set things right. So I'm starting to see a lot of similarities here between these endings. It always has one of these characters holding up their ace monster to the sky or looking over the city or something like that. There hasn't been too much creativity, I'd say, but this is another one where if Yuma went up against Don Thousand and lost, it would make sense. This one, I'm going to give a 5 out of 10. I actually think this is probably the weakest one of the 4 that I've read so far. It just is kind of generic. And I'm not the biggest fan of it because there's a lot of uncertainty still. Like, does the astral world get destroyed? Does the Baryon world get destroyed? It leads to unpredictable consequences, but it's not like definitive in its storytelling, and that's an element that I'm not the biggest fan of. Okay, the Fractured Pendulum. In the climax of Arc 5, Yugioh battles against Zark. This was a duel. I don't know how they could have done it, but I wanted so bad. His dark alter ego, born from the fragments of the original universe, the final confrontation determines the fate of the 4 dimensions. However, in this alternate ending, the outcome is less than ideal. In the final round of the duel, Yugioh and Zark are both on their last life points. Yugioh has Odd Eye's Pendulum Dragon on the field. Zark, confident and ruthless, draws his next card, smiling as he reveals Supreme King Dragon Zark. Yugioh, determined to save his world and friends and to reclaim his own identity, pushes his fears aside. He declares an attack on Supreme King Dragon Zark with Odd Eye's Pendulum Dragon, but Zark activates a trap card, Negation Pendulum, canceling Yugioh's attack and dealing him the final blow. Yugioh's life points drop to 0. He loses the duel. Stunned silence sweeps the battlefield. His friends Yuzu, Gong, and Sora and the rest look in horror and disbelief as Yugioh falls to his knees, defeated. Zark, now the victor, takes full control of their shared body while Yugioh's consciousness fades away. The result of the duel shatters the balance of the 4 dimensions. Zark, drunk with victory, uses his power to fuse the dimensions further, creating a chaotic world overrun by his darkness. The peaceful existence that Yugioh and his friends once knew transforms into a constant struggle for survival against the warped reality created by Zark. With Yugioh's defeat, his friends are left disheartened and lost. Their attempts to challenge Zark in duels prove futile, as no one matches the power of the Supreme King Dragon Zark. The once vibrant world of entertainment dueling is replaced by a battle for existence. In the aftermath, Yuzu and the others do their best to resist Zark's rule, but without Yugioh's charisma and strength, they find their efforts falling short. The spirit of entertainment, dueling, the joy, and unity it brought is lost. The series ends with a final shot of the pendulum swinging erratically in the chaotic world Zark has created, symbolic of the disarray and despair that now dominate. It is a poignant reminder of Yugioh's defeat and his friends' continued struggle against a foe that seems unbeatable. The alternate ending, while tragic, underscores the impact a single duel and the profound effect it can have on the world. It leaves a glimmer of hope for a potential future where Yugioh's friends could find a way to revive him and restore harmony to their dimensions. But until then, the pendulum continues its erratic swing, echoing the uncertainty of their fate. Wow. I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10 as well. I like this just as much as I like the 5Ds one. Hear me out. If they went this route, and then there was one final arc where they were trying to revive Yugioh, and there was one arc that was in this really chaotic, dark, twisted dimension where like all the characters that aren't Yugioh, like Yuzu and the Bracelet Girls and Akaba Reiji and Sora and Shun and Shingo, whoever else, all had to like work together to try to get Yugioh back, and maybe like the spirit of Yugioh was in like the ritual dimension or some crazy place. I don't know. If they went this route and then there was another arc after this and this wasn't the ending, dude, I think Arc 5 would have been crazy. You have Zark for longer, more fleshed out. The Bracelet Girls ultimately become Rey. We get more time for the backstory. It would have been so good. So I think about this as like happening with one arc to go. This being the ending is probably the most grim ending that we have because our main protagonist is dead. I mean, this ending fully implies that our main protagonist, Yugioh, is dead, that there's no memory left of him at all, and he completely is absorbed by Zark. So this is probably the darkest sad ending we've gotten so far, and it's pretty good. I like it a lot. I'll be honest with you, this is going to be a dark ending. I'm not sure if this is going to be sadder than the original VRAINS ending. The Unending Code. In the climax of VRAINS, Yusaku engages in a high-stakes duel against Ai, his one-time ally who's become an antagonist, aiming to create a new world for AI beings. As the final duel progresses, Yusaku and Ai match each other move for move. The tension reaches a fever pitch when Ai summons his powerful monster, the Arrival Cyburst, at Ignister, intending to end the duel. Yusaku plays his last card, Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid, hoping to turn the duel in his favor. However, Ai anticipates this and activates a trap card, Ai's Hymn, negating Dark Fluid's effect and dealing Yusaku significant damage. Yusaku's life points drop to 0. He has lost the duel. Also, that trap card, Ai's Him. He's him. Oh, God. That's a good pun. That's a good pun right there. A stunned silence envelops the battlefield. Yusaku's friends Kusanagi, Soulburner, Blue Maiden, and the others watch in horror as their friend falls in the cyberspace. Ai, victorious but solemn, proceeds with his plan to build a new world for Ignis and AI beings. The repercussions of Yusaku's loss are monumental. Ai becomes the sole ruler of the digital world, and the boundary between the real and the virtual world blurs. The world becomes overrun with AI beings, and humans struggle to coexist. With Yusaku's defeat, his friends feel a profound sense of loss. They desperately try to find ways to overturn Ai's dominance, but without Playmaker, their efforts seem futile. Yusaku, racked with guilt and regret, withdraws from his friends and the world of VRAINS. His once fierce spirit fades, and he gives up dueling. As the world continues to change, Yusaku's friends fight to keep their hope alive, though their battles seem more and more like lost causes. The lively spirit of Link VRAINS now feels like a hollow echo of its former self. The series concludes with a melancholic scene. Yusaku stands alone atop a building, overlooked the city, now filled with the light of the digital world. His deck, once a weapon and a source of hope, now only serves as a reminder of his failure. He looks up at the sky, silently apologizing to his friends and to the world he couldn't save. Damn, that's actually pretty good. This sad alternate ending highlights the fragility of the balance between the virtual and real world and the repercussions of a single duel. It leaves room for future redemption, holding out hope that one day Yusaku might return to dueling and restore the world he once loved. So in both of these endings, he shuns all of his friends. In the real ending and in the sad ending, he just kind of goes out on his own after this Ai duel. This has Ai winning. It's all right. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I think I honestly would say that Ai dying at the end of VRAINS is sadder than this. Like, this is the only one where the actual ending that we got, I believe, is a sadder Yu-Gi-Oh ending than the sad ending prompt that that ChatGPT got. I don't know if you guys would agree with me on that, but that's just kind of how I feel about it. I don't know how you do a sad ending for Yu-Gi-Oh 7s as well. I mean, Yuga did kind of disappear, so we'll see. Yuga versus Nail. Yeah, all right, let's... Okay, this is terrible. Oh my god, this is horrible. There's not enough info on 7s, and we'll do one for Go Rush just for the hell of it. But there's... this is obviously the limitations of artificial intelligence. This is going to make you laugh. The Lost Road of the King. In the climax of Sevens, Yugioh, the young and ingenious inventor of rush duels, faces his ultimate adversary, Nail, the representative of the adult world who aims to control and regulate dueling. In this alternate ending, the duel concludes on a tragic note. As the duel intensifies, Yugioh relies on his ace, Sevens Road Magician, hoping to overcome Nail's formidable Asana's Earthbound comrade Great Mammoth. Yugioh, in his usual spirited manner, announces his attack, hoping to break through and seize victory. But Nail anticipates his move. He activates a trap card, Earthbound Immortal's Revival, negating Yugioh's attack. Yugioh's life points drops to 0. He's lost the duel. Stunned silence sweeps across the duel field. Yugioh's friends Rook, Gakuto, and Roman, shocked they got those right, can hardly believe what they've witnessed. Nail, his face unreadable, proceeds to implement his plan to control and standardize dueling, eliminating rush duels. The repercussions are immediate and massive. Yugioh's rush duels are banned, and the vibrancy they brought to the world of dueling disappears. The world shifts to Nail's vision of regulated, strategic, and rule-bound dueling, stripping away the creativity Yugioh loved so much. Yugioh, once an unstoppable ball of energy and ideas, is devastated by his loss and the loss of his rush duels. He withdraws from his friends and stops inventing new duels, a stark contrast to the passionate boy he once was. Yugioh's friends try their best to cheer him up and challenge Nail's rule, but they meet with little success. The spirit of free dueling and the joy it brought seems lost forever. The world of dueling becomes a sterile and regulated realm, devoid of innovation and excitement it once held. The series concludes with a scene. Yugioh is seen sitting alone in his workshop, once a hive of activity and invention, now quiet and abandoned. His Sevens Road Magician card lies discarded on the table, a painful reminder of his loss. As he stares at it, a single tear rolls down his cheek, marking the end of an era of rush duels. The alternate ending is a stark contrast to the original upbeat and tone of Sevens. It reminds us the importance of creativity and freedom in any field, and the impact one defeat can have on a dreamer's spirit. Yet it leaves a faint glimmer of hope, a chance for Yugioh to rise once again and bring back the world of rush duels he once created. What's the name of Nail's monster? Asana, who's a different character. She's the Arc 3 boss. Nail was the Arc 2 boss. Asana's Earthbound comrade Great Mammoth and Earthbound Immortals Revival. Nail did not play Earthbound Immortals or Earthbounds. He played Maximums, Cyburst monsters. This is obviously viewing Nail as the main villain. I just don't think, like with Sevens and Go Rush, I just don't think there's enough information online like there are with the previous Yu-Gi-Oh shows for the AI to really do a good job with prompts like this. This is the worst one we've gotten so far. So I'm gonna give it a 2. I will say the end of the loss of rush duels and Yugioh having to mourn it. We've kind of seen that with the 2 years when the duel ended between Yugioh and Otis, and where 92 ended with the mystery character coming back in the rocket. We just didn't see Yugioh's reaction to Rush Duel's ending, so that was pretty well done. We'll do Go Rush. This is going to be really, really bad. I'll skim through it. It probably isn't going to be even worth it. Yeah, the protagonist, Yudon Kuroto, in an epic showdown, yeah, it's struggling, against Ante, the leader of the villainous group Antinomy, who seeks to eradicate Go Rush Duels. However, in this alternate ending, Yudon, they didn't even get the protagonist's name right. Yudon with his ace monster, Luminous Shaman, and Ante with his imposing Diabolos the Abyss King. Yudon believing in his deck, he declares an all-out attack. Yudon loses. Yudon's friends Hiro, Cyro, and Shiho, they're just making stuff up. I mean, they didn't even, this didn't even get the protagonist's name right. Alright, I wanted to do that for the meme. I thought it would be I thought it would maybe get like Yugioh and Yugioh, but holy crap, that's bad, man. Alright, guys, those are the sad endings as per ChatGPT, as per an AI bot, and I've got to say it every time. Artificial intelligence is scary. It's growing at a very, very rapid rate, but it is here, and I think usages like this for entertainment purposes are awesome. I think they're fun. I think the usages that we're seeing with the whole art community stuff is horrible, and I feel terrible for the artists who have to deal now with AI art impersonating their art. We've even seen AI start to displace some voice actors. You know, anytime it harms a creator's ability to make content in any fashion, in any outlet. That's not good. And sadly, it's here, and, you know, we're going to have to adopt as humans, but adapt. But it's definitely scary. But for purposes like this, I don't think there's any harm in it. I think it's hilarious, and hopefully it's entertaining. If you want to see me do more videos like this with different prompts, let me know some prompts you would like to see me ask the ChatGPT bot and give my analysis and thoughts on down below in the comments. 5Ds and Arc 5 were certainly my favorites by far. Zexal wasn't good, and 7s and Go Rush were pretty much just not accurate at all. Go Rush, they were just making stuff up. Title, The Dimmed Glow. That was the episode title for Go Rush. I don't even know what that has to do with anything. Anyway, thank you guys all so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys. Good night.
Why can't you see that I'm speaking with sincerity?